Good morning. Happy Sunday morning live. Got a lot of stuff done this morning, so that's why I decided not to do any Facebook Live this morning because I slept in a little bit because I needed to. And when you eat food that may be not as easily slooped through the system, sometimes you can feel the backup. And since I have a very, I don't say sensitive system, but it knows that it has stuff in it, I want to then do the J juice to help move it along. But when it comes to heavy protein, like let's say like Chinese food and pot stickers, or a bunch of turkey or red meat, even though, yes, your body does need it and you are deriving nutrition from it when you're on maintenance status, okay? Because yes, in the beginning with J juice, you're going to be avoiding certain foods until you're getting your body recalibrated to be able to handle that massive amounts of data. But right now, with me on maintenance status, I will still eat, I will eat red meat, or I'll eat a lot of turkey, or I'll do some Chinese food. And so it moves slower through the system, but I'm still deriving benefit. I mean, last night I had dreams and I was still very, very tired like early on because I have been doing a major like data dump. I guess that's how I would characterize the last like week of revelations, and making these slides and making this information easier to grasp. So I know that the foods that I've been eating have been contributing to the data that I have been putting out there. So so the dreams that I had last night were about like delivery driver truck in San Francisco, and I'm sitting really high on a chair looking down at the entrance of the truck, the back of the truck, and there's like blankets in the back of my truck. So you look up delivery truck, you look up blankets, there's definitely, dream meanings behind that. So, and it's all really reflective of what is currently going on. And you're seeing the testimonies on my Facebook, whether it's memories from last year or even current ones, where people are actually exhibiting the healing process from injuries and issues from years and years and years ago that were laying dormant. Because remember, your body will adapt to whatever conditions you set, and then you're in a specific homeostasis until the body tries to then adapt to a new condition, where then it's that systematic degrading, when you guys are systematically degrading. And so your body's used to one homeostasis, which is still relatively healthy in the population because you're still alive. But when you go through another adaptation sequence, okay, where the body is degrading because you're not bringing the right nutrients and you have a major, huge malabsorption rate, then you're in pain again. And when you're in pain again and you're getting diagnosed and you're going to the hospital, that's the body trying to adapt to now a new environment, which is that systematic degradation. So with the J juice, now you're taking yourself where you are right now, and you are systematically upgrading your system, which pain is involved, okay? And so every sequence of healing, you're gonna feel pain. And so when people are waking up parts of their body that were asleep a long time ago because the body just resigned itself that you're not going to give it what it needs, and so it goes dormant. So you have parts of your body that are going dormant, and then there is the chain reaction of then other parts of your body degrading because of the dormancy of the necessary parts of your body that you never taken care of, you never fixed. And so that's why you guys are seeing a systematic degrading, because you've never reversed and dealt with the issues that were given to you, either your predisposition because of generations ago, your genetics, or you created traumas to your body that you never fixed. And the body then has to go through another adaptation sequence, which is when you call the aging process, or cancer, disease, and chronic illness. But we figured out that you guys don't die from cancer or disease or chronic illness. You actually die from heart attacks, strokes. Well, how does that, when everyone's focusing on all all your, your diagnoses of cancer, disease, chronic illness, autoimmunity, obesity, underweight, overweight, all this stuff. Well, those are just the red flags, the idiot lights on the dashboard letting you know that there is some anomalies going on, that right now you have the chance to fix them. But if you don't apply the right chemistry, they're going to get progressively worse. And then what happens is you have vital organs in your body, your brain, your heart, your liver, your kidneys, okay, your lungs. And when you have specific diagnoses in your body, you don't get alerted that everything is connected. Though you kind of know in the background that everything is connected. But when you think about it, when you have obesity or underweight, when you have a diagnosis of whatever it is, it does ultimately affect your cardiovascular system. It ultimately affects your brain, the blood vessels in your brain, the blood vessels in your heart, the blood vessels in parts of your body. So people have nerve issues or they have blood flow issues in parts of their body. Well, they're not vital organs, so you're still living, okay, because the body's finding alternative ways to keep you alive. But remember, every single weakness that you've sustained through past, present, and future, it will ultimately affect the blood flow in your heart and your brain. And this is why people at the end of their life, regardless of what they were diagnosed with in their lifetime, the last hurrah for everybody is either too low blood pressure, where there's no blood, there's not enough blood pumping to the vital organs, or such high blood pressure, which has to do with the amount of fatty acids and plaque and what else? I'm going to tell you, it's called I'm not really good with all these words, but it's called atherosclerosis, okay? So every single one of you, whether you're very, very skinny and underweight or obese or even a skinny fat, where you are a skinny person, but you have fatty deposits and minerals. And here's what atherosclerosis is. It is a thickening or hardening of the arteries, okay, which is in the heart and the brain, all that stuff, right? Well, not the arteries in the brain, but the arteries, well, yeah, in your body. It is caused by buildup of plaque in the inner lining of an artery. Plaque is made up of deposits of fatty substances, cholesterol, cellular waste, calcium, and fibrin, and it builds up in the arteries. The artery walls becomes thickened and stiff. So that means you're not getting the blood pumped to the necessary places. Let me look at artery real quick, just to make sure that we're all on the same page with artery is, because I don't look up all these definitions because there's always these assumptions of what things are. Okay, so artery in the neck, artery in the vein. Jay, I'm on Facebook Live.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you interrupt me, god dang it. So an artery is a blood vessel that carries blood away from the heart to other parts of the body. Almost all arteries carry blood with lots of oxygen in it. So when you are oxygen depleted, or when you are not bringing the minerals to carry the blood to the necessary places, this is where you see then necrosis, or you see atrophy, or you see then aneurysms, embolisms, all these different things that happen when somebody doesn't get blood flow or oxygen to the necessary places. However, you can have a depletion of oxygen in some parts of your body that will then go dormant and go asleep, but still have your vital organs keeping you going. And that is called the aging process. And so those of you that are getting diagnosed, those of you that are in the hospital, those of you that are dealing with cancer disease, chronic illness, even allergies, the most benign like viruses on weak bodies, that is the systematic degradation. And relative to what you bring to the table, okay, as well as your lifestyle, belief system, and all of that, will be how soon or how far you die, or you prolong your life, or you see death, okay? So with the whole thing with the J juice, okay, the whole thing with the J juice is that we are inducing autophagy, which means that we're loosening up and breaking up the fatty deposits, the fatty substances, the cholesterol, the cellular waste products, the calcium and the fibrin, okay? We're breaking that up so then to allow more free-flowing blood to go and oxygenate all parts of your body. And that's why you see the healing process going, because now you're finally getting the nutrients, the oxygen, the electrolytes, the minerals, the right acids the pro-hormones, nutrients, the minerals, the acids, the water, okay? And that's why you're seeing then parts of your body that you forgot even existed. You forgot that you had an injury that was never really truly healed. The body just adapted to the fact that you haven't given it what it needs, so it went dormant. It went asleep. Then now when you feel pain, you actually start waking up parts of your body, your 11 different systems that you forgot even existed or you never knew existed because you were so used to living from a specific point. Like you're used to living from a specific, oh God, how would I say it? Standpoint. You know, when you're born with deficiencies and you're born with disabilities, you've accepted that you have a disability. You've accepted that you have deficiencies. You've accepted that you're gonna, you know, you had polio, and you've accepted that you're gonna walk with a limp. But wait until you J juice, and that limp, and then that limp in that leg, you start feeling pain. It means you're waking up that part of your body that you thought would never wake up. Okay, so right now our society it's basically what life is in our society is a prolonged death process. Reproduction, disease, and then death. And it's that constant loop that you see in every single society out there. That's why we have 7 billion people, because we have so many people that are traumatized, procreating on traumatized body, and they are producing kids upon kids upon kids who are messed up. And each generation is progressively worse than the next. And so what you have to understand and how to look from as far as just the J-Juice world, because now we're going to totally completely I would say put on ice the old world that we came from. Instead of referring to religion and science, but instead of referring to religion and industries and foods and medicines and holistic remedies and allopathic remedies as those specific names that have a whole brainwashing, a whole footnote behind it, now we have to look at everything from chemistry. Everything is coming from either the periodic tables, okay, where it's elements and compound elements, and new ones are discovered every single day. You're not going to see the most current list of elements, okay, out there in the world, but you'll know that there's a certain amount of elements, the basic ones, and the new ones are discovered. And then you're going to look at all of biodiversity, humans, plants, and animals, as made up of fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. And so if plants and animals and humans are made up of fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals, and then you have the periodic tables affect the manifestation of fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals, now you're going to look at what exactly you're feeding your body, how you're dealing with your cancer, disease, and chronic illness, and realize that you're actually compounding the issues because you have such extreme imbalances. Okay? And so it's realizing that those elements do impact, and there's intention too. There is every single biodiversity, animals, humans, and plants, whatever animal kingdom, whatever plant kingdom, whatever human kingdom, whatever, right, has a specific intention, has a specific balance of the body. And death is letting you know, whatever death is, whether it's a near death or a far away death where you think it's inevitable and you're seeing then characteristics of cancer, disease, and chronic illness, that's letting you know that you are, what you're doing in your life as far as your lifestyle and your belief system is violating the laws of life. And so what you eat with your, see, the thing is, people want to demonize sugar and they want to demonize mercury and demonize all these different elements and say those are the enemy, and that's all the fear and the activism. But when you actually look at it, you have imbalances that you were never corrected. Everyone that's born in our society is born from a very traumatized body. So you came into this world with major imbalances. And then for you to even just survive in our society, you have to have modern medicine to help you adapt. And when you already sustain weaknesses, and then you're taking in elements in the world that your body isn't used to, and you have to go through an adaptation process, it then generates mutations. Now there's good mutations and there's bad mutations. but that's based upon how strong or how weak your body is. And so right now in our society, as it stands, you're in a prolonged death process. And then there are indicators that let you know that you're on a prolonged death process. And that is cancer, disease, chronic illness, promiscuity, okay, activism, war. What else? Crime, suicide, homicide, activism, infanticide, human trafficking, disease, victim, predator, prey. Okay, so those are the characteristics, those are the indicators that you are actually actively on that prolonged death process. Now, how soon or how far you actually take your last breath is based upon your predisposition, what you brought to the world, to the table, as well as your lifestyle and your belief system currently. Okay, and so the whole thing with the pain in the JAGES, pain in the allopathic holistic world, pain in the matrix and the alternative matrix, I guess, or mainstream, alternative mainstream, is the genesis of healing. However, you could be constantly trying to heal and not give your body what it needs until your last breath. Because remember, your body is working off of whatever it is that you're giving it, and also the sustained weaknesses, the imbalances. So you could be in constant chronic pain because the body is still trying to live. It's still that spark of life, but you will have that continuous spark of life until you actually like shut down your vital organs. So that's why the way the industry works as far as mitigating pain is actually aborting any possible deep healing, because you're not giving your body what it needs, and you have so much insurance, some of you do, that you can maintain doing these remedies to abort the deep healing. And so then parts of your body go dormant. And so now it's the complete opposite with the J juice. You are waking up parts of your body that had been dormant for a long time that you never knew existed because of what you brought into this world, as well as what you actually put to sleep with your lifestyle when you've been diagnosed and now taking pills, power supplements, and detoxes and whatever. Okay, so pain is the genesis of healing, but the way in which you deal with pain will be the difference between your prolonged life and a prolonged death type of thing. Okay, so pain is the indicator of imminent life or imminent death. So when you go on the JAGES and you feel the pain, that's the parts of the body that you have put to sleep now finally wake up, and you are lucky that your vital organs are still relatively okay. Some of you don't even know what predisposition you brought to the world, and you could be really good looking and cute and have all these things going for you, but you have no idea the state of your heart and your arteries and your vessels and your blood. And you never know that what you're doing could be your last thing, that you could suffer from a aneurysm. And there's indicators, there's headaches, there's people that deal with headaches all the time, and obviously in their head, those are indicators of a possible aneurysm. You're not getting enough oxygen to your brain because the vessels are choking the blood through because it's so full of plaque. When you have, some of you don't even know your predisposition. Yeah, you kind of know your family history, but no one's talked about heart disease in the family, or you don't know about it, but you could be sustaining a weakness that you don't even know about because of your therapies for other issues in your body that do eventually affect the heart. Because remember, everything is connected. So whatever therapy you apply to your body to deal with cancer, disease, chronic illness, over-the-counter drugs, to prescription drugs, to even your lifestyle, you could potentially be then causing a chain reaction of weaknesses to your heart. Because remember, everything is connected. But the allopathic holistic industry makes sure, for whatever reason, that you think nothing is connected. Everything is like born in a vacuum. And now with the J juice, you're going to learn that everything is connected, because when you do the J juice, you're not just dealing with one symptom that you know about. It's going to be the weaknesses that you never even thought you had. The dormancy in your body due to what you brought into the world and what you sustained. Okay? And you're waking those up. So you may not deal with the actual symptom that you're coming into the J juice for right away. You could be fixing other things that you never knew existed. And then you're like, oh my God, Jillian's trying to hurt me. No, Jillian is waking up the parts of your body that have been asleep for freaking years, for centuries, because you have no idea what it is that you inherited from your predecessors. And they go back a long, long line. Remember, everything is genetic. And then also, too, you're compounding your weaknesses and your deficiencies every single time you deal with a sickness or a weakness with the wrong chemistry. Okay? So pain is biochemical triage when you have major malabsorption, which is which is also another issue with our society, which I got to bring into this. That's what I need to put is malabsorption. I gotta plug this in somewhere. Malabsorption, which has to do with the imbalances equals imbalances in your fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. And so if you have a high amount of acid in your body, I got to tack this somewhere. When you have a high amount of acids in your body, there are specific things like yeast that are already in there to keep the balance of the body. And when you have imbalances in those specific things, imbalances in your fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals, you're feeding the yeast. The yeast then is multiplying and multiplying. And then all that visceral fat which is the acids, that actually punches holes in your gut. Okay? And that's where malabsorption happens, which means you're not getting in the necessary nutrients, fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals enough to wake up parts of your body and heal them from past issues and present issues. And so then this is why with the weaknesses, your belief system and lifestyle and the malabsorption will contribute to then the imbalances that will then have the buildup of all of that crap in your arteries. And all the weaknesses that you've sustained is a chain reaction to that, which is what people die from, which is heart attacks, strokes. Okay, it's because of you don't know your own predisposition. Yeah, you can get tests to see, but even if you stay away from fat and you play the vegan and vegetarian game, you're then causing the really low blood pressure where there's not enough energy to pump the blood to the necessary vital organs. So you're seeing on two extreme ends of the spectrum, high blood pressure, high fatty acid in the blood, low blood pressure, same weaknesses. You can have a thickening of the walls of the artery as well as have imbalances, and then you don't have enough minerals or enough electrolytes to then keep that blood going. So then there on the other end of it, people die from strokes and heart attacks from malnutrition. So you can have malnutrition being obese, and you can have malnutrition being completely underweight. So it's all about balance. So yeah, you could be cute and skinny or cute and work and all fit, like living in the prime of your life, but you have no idea the condition of your 11 different systems, especially your vital organs. So people get surprised that when someone just keels over dead, they're like, oh my God, he was so healthy. He's so cute. He was so good looking. Oh yeah, well, he didn't know his own predisposition, whether it was past or present. He didn't know that with all of the remedies he applied to his body, all the therapies he applied to his body, it actually was a chain reaction that affected his heart, affected his blood vessels, affected his arteries. Okay? And so some people do come into this world with weaknesses in the heart. And then that's when you go to your doctor and they ask you your family medical history, and then you know about that your parents died from a heart attack or they had heart disease. Then you're on this type of regimen where you're going to be very careful with exercise. You're going to eat a lean diet. You're going to look at your blood type, like, oh, I'm AB positive, which is surface marker antigen A, surface marker antigen B. What is surface marker antigen A and B? Those are all of the antibodies that let you know where your imbalances are. Because antibodies get created to try to balance out your body so you don't have an overabundance of bacteria, of viruses, of any specific metals or acids. I mean, what antibodies are, it keeps a balance of your fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. So that's what the whole AB positive, the positive is the Rh factor, the rhesus monkey gene, whether or not you test positive, that's based upon antibody count. When you get tested, when you get exposed to viruses, whatever they are, okay, they give a test, they have a specific conditions that will tell you if you're positive or negative for any type of virus. you'll still have the antibody in your body, but you don't have enough of them to warrant, then it might turn into the actual disease, where then you have to go and take medication to then balance it all out, you know, temporarily. So, so the antibodies in your body will then let you know what blood type you are. And every single one of those surface marker antigen, because antigen is excess fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals, because there's no poisons out there. There is no poisons, but they call it antigen because it's based upon relative to the imbalances of your body. Okay? That's what surface marker antigen, that's what antigen is, period. So you're like, oh my God, you know, I have antigen in my body. And then they go and project that you should stay away from this, stay away from that, and you know, don't do this, don't do that. But not everybody shares that same biochemistry, so it's not antigen to everybody else. It's only antigen to you because your body has major imbalances. So a tomato could be antigen to someone that has a tomato acid imbalance. Okay, and so they're allergic to tomatoes. Every single food allergy, every single cancer, disease, and chronic illness is based upon how much of an imbalance you have in your fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. Okay? So this whole thing with people are saying that these are poison, this is poison, there's a general accepted universal poison. Like, you don't go into a closed room with the car running. There's carbon monoxide poisoning. There's tear gas poisoning. Okay? So your body's gonna let you know when you are in an environment that has too much parts per million, because then you'll see mucus or you'll feel mucus, which is the body trying to release the excess. But in current mainstream and alternative mainstream society, people are taking fire cider, major poison to a body that's trying to heal. Okay, fire cider is apple cider vinegar with jalapenos and every single spicy thing in the spice cabinet, plus honey, which is a antibiotic plus then a sugar, okay, which is highly acidic, and they're suppressing their prostaglandin hormone, which aids in the healing process, causes pain, yes, but then it suppresses the mucus ducts from actually doing what it's supposed to do. So essentially people are destroying themselves with all the remedies. And then this is why they have this is why they're so sensitive to their environment, because of the way in which they deal with symptoms. And that's why I say do not recommend any symptom to any remedy to anyone that has symptoms, because you have no idea to what degree they have imbalances. And so your apple cider vinegar and your kombucha and your fire cider could actually be doing somebody in who may have weaknesses in their heart anyways. Better to not recommend anything, because let me tell you, if someone's really in imminent danger and they feel that they're going to die, they'll be calling 911. They won't be calling you on Facebook. Oh my God, I'm in imminent danger. I'm having a heart attack or whatever. They're not going to go to Facebook and be like, hey, what do you guys do for a heart attack? I'm having a heart attack right now. No, they'll be calling 911 or calling somebody in the nearest room that's around them, or someone in the store, and say, hey, call the police or call 911. I'm having a heart attack. Okay, so if somebody's on Facebook bitching about their symptoms, do not give them ammunition to destroy themselves. But that's what people do, because they're all about the pain mitigation, which is basically destroying your ability to heal at a very deeper level. And this is why we don't have indefinite life in our society, because the way in which people deal with their symptoms. So anyway, so pain is biochemical triage, where if you do have malabsorption and you're not doing J juice, then that's when you see the degradation, the aging process, which is then the graying of the hair. That is the vital organs stealing minerals from your hair, skin, and nails. So look at everybody around you. You start seeing in the beards, they're getting gray in the beard. People are losing their hair. People are losing collagen and fat in their face. You start seeing the dark circles under the eyes. You start seeing then the weight loss, the bone density diminish, because those are minerals in the body trying to then keep the vital organs going. But then with the imbalances too, and with fatty acids and all that stuff, build up the calcium deposits and all that stuff that's in the arteries, then people could potentially then die from a heart attack. But some people then do all these different medications like blood thinners and taking aspirin when they feel they're going to have a heart attack, so it thins out the blood so it can go through. But those aren't without a consequence. Okay? When you deal with remedies to deal with a symptom, you don't escape the consequences. You bought yourself a few minutes, but you don't know to what degree how bad every other system is. So you keep doing these shortcuts, it's eventually going to do you in at some point. Okay, so biochemical triage is when your body is stealing resources from other parts of the body to keep the vital organs alive. But at some point, whether or not you have a major issue with your heart or you don't have enough nutrients or minerals will be the difference of whether or not you really survive these symptoms. So when someone gets a stroke, it's because there's a weakness in the arteries and the blood vessels, and the body is now doing like a jump start by pulling the electrolytes from the body. And it then jump starts, and that's why you see the symptom of the body going like, oh my God. Okay. And so those are the symptoms, is the body trying to heal and let you know, and it's taking resources in a that's like a spark of life. That's cell regeneration. That is the body kind of doing like its own defibrillation. When someone has a heart attack in the store and they have those defibrillators and they're going, or you're doing the chest compression, trying to get someone's heart going when they have, or doing CPR, that's what strokes are, is the body's own way of doing a defibrillation or chest compression with the minerals in the body. But not everybody's going to survive their strokes, because eventually you're going to deplete your electrolytes, and or you have so much fatty deposits and the blood is so thick with fat, and your walls are so full of debris that there is no kind of chest compression or anything that is going to help a person get that blood going to the proper organs. Okay, so the stealing of the minerals is only like a very temporary thing at best. Right, Kevin. And so yeah, so when you realize that your circulatory system, your urinary tract system, your endocrine system, your digestive system, your male and female reproductive system, your nervous system, your skeletal system, your respiratory system, your integumentary system, your lymphatic system, your muscular system are all connected. And when you're taking all of these remedies and you're recommending remedies to your friends, and you don't know to what degree the degradation of all 11 different systems, you are actually causing them more harm than good. Not recommending a remedy to someone who's bitching about their health issues on Facebook would actually save their life, versus you recommending some kind of acid-based, fat-based, something-based remedy that would then put them over the edge. And if they have heart issues, you could possibly be a factor in giving them, we're not so much giving them a heart attack, but they won't survive a heart attack because it's already predisposed. When someone gets a heart attack or a stroke, they've already been predisposed with circulatory system issues they brought into this world, and or sustained it through the remedies and the therapies they've applied to their body dealing with other health issues. Remember, side effects are chain reaction because you're dealing with some specific situation. Okay, and so so cancer, disease, and chronic illness and aging autoimmunity is based upon viruses and bacteria, based upon fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals on a body that's imbalanced, or even viruses. Okay, because you never can get away from viruses. So when you have imbalances in your fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals, and you're exposed to viruses that you cannot get away from, and you're exposed to bacteria that you really can't get away from, now you have diagnoses called cancer, disease, chronic illness, aging, autoimmunity, chronic pain. And then when people are applying things that are prostaglandin inhibitors, such as cannabis, as well as chemotherapy and opioids and spices and detoxes, then you are compounding the problem, and you're then shutting off parts of your body systematically. Over time, this is where then we see the death process become more pronounced in people. And so so right now in the mainstream and the alternative mainstream, we have adaptation to your lifestyle and your belief system. Then you have disease, and then you have mucus, then you have pain, and then you have adaptation, disease, and mucus and pain, and then you're applying the wrong chemistry to all of those diseases and those symptoms and your mucus and your adaptation. And then this is where the acceleration of the death process happens. And so what the J juice is, so that's the death loop. Alternative mainstream and mainstream is the death loop in our society. And the manifestations of the death loop is suicide, homicide, activism, infanticide, promiscuity, war, politics, bully, predator and prey, human trafficking, okay? Reproduction. That's the sign, that's the manifestation of the death loop is reproduction, okay? And so with the J juice, now we have the life loop. I need to put reproduction on there. Because as promiscuity is also reproduction. Even though that's not your intention to make a baby, but if your intention is to play with your hormones to get some kind of O type of stuff, the O face, when you're looking to get the O face, you are triggering the death process. Okay? And so with the JJ, it's the life loop. You're getting the cabbage and the kale and the water and the pink salt. It's fermented. You still can take your prescription drugs and you still have the implants in your body that you will figure out what to do with your doctor. Okay? And then you go through pain symptoms, bringing up the prostaglandin hormone. And it'll be up to you how you manage your pain and your healing if you are a busy person trying to also work and take care of your priorities, but you don't want to undermine your healing process, okay? And then the protocol diet and the mucus, that's your barometer to figure out where you are as far as the healing process. Because if you reintroduce foods and you already have imbalances and you reintroduce foods too early, you will see mucus, okay? So you have to understand how mucus plays a part in letting you know where you stand as far as your imbalances. And then it becomes then, so the protocol diet and the mucus is a barometer of imbalances and your adaptation. So if you reintroduce foods too early and you're doing the J juice and you get mucus from a specific food, that's when you stay away from that food for a minute, drink the J juice, release the excess, because that's what J juice does. It induces autophagy and apoptosis. So some of you have really, really bad teeth, okay? Like rotten teeth. And so you do the J juice. And guess what? You might see a purging of that rotten tooth, that which is also causing you more weaknesses because there's infection in that tooth. That's where people can die from, is infection. Okay? So you might see a purging of the cells that are really, have a point of no return. And then potentially regrowing organs, regrowing limbs is all there, though, I'm not going to focus too much on that. But if you are reversing the aging process, which is the whole thing with the J juice, is ultimately reverse the aging process, and all points in between will be addressed. Because the blueprint of the body is to have 2 arms, 2 legs, 5 digits, okay, all of your organs, even the ones that were taken out due to, your issues. And you will feel pain in all of that, okay? So, so then that's the protocol diet is the adaptation, barometer, imbalances. And then you're going to have adaptation, mucus, reversal of whatever. And even when you're on maintenance status like me, I'll go outside and I'll have a little bit of mucus because of the fact that I went from one environment to another. My body's adjusting, even those slight nuances of going from inside to outside. The body's releasing any excess of whatever is in the air. Because I have a certain, air quality in my house. I go outside that has a certain air quality. I'm breathing it in, and then my body will act accordingly. Even temperature is an adjustment. It's an adaptation that your body still has to figure out how to adapt to. And so colder temperatures will induce more mucus. So that's why it's good to not stay in too much of a cold, because that really does. Here's the thing. You could be doing J juice, but you better have a temperature that is allowing the J to ferment, which means that you should be in that same environment to where you can actually ferment J juice. But if you're constantly living in cold, you are destroying your body unless you're able to get to a nice equilibrium of warmth, because the body needs a certain amount of warmth. Okay? So, because J juice is life. If J juice can't survive in your environment, whatever it is, then you're not going to survive in your environment, whatever it is. So that's why J juice is completely revolutionary, because of the balances of the fatty acids. Well, J juice and the protocol diet. There isn't really a lot of sugar in the J juice. So that's where you have then the diet, which is the protocol diet that has the fruits and the potatoes and all the different sugars that are in the diverse diet. And then you're getting the fatty acids, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals from the recipe. This is basically 4 cups. 2 cups here, 2 cups here. And so, so then your intestines become so effective in releasing. However, some foods will kind of stick around in your system, and you can feel it because you're not dealing with so much crap in your body where you can't even feel any more crap that's accumulating. Because those of you that have big bellies, that are kind of obese, you can eat food and you won't know you'll poop, but you don't know how much of that poop still, that, from you eating that food, is still staying in your system, sticking to the walls of your colon. Okay? So the J juice really then cleans the pipes. It reinforces the strengths. It energizes all 11 different systems because you've healed and sealed. It releases the excess, and it fixes any types of, it kind of is like a reset. So, when you do a reset, whether it's every day or every week or every month, it's necessary. If you do J juice for like 3 years and then you stop and you don't do J juice ever again, you will see a systematic degradation, because your body is still going to go through its adaptation processes. And yeah, you could eat the food supply, but some foods don't get released as easily as other foods. And so then you have traumas that happen. Life does give you traumas. Environment gives you traumas that you don't even aware of. It doesn't have to be any major traumas like crimes and stuff. But it's not like humans are going to just stay in their house and not do anything. People go from one environment to another, one activity to another, eating one food or another. And so, you may not have to drink as much J juice when you're on maintenance level, but with how mobile our society is, every single adaptation sequence you go through does tax your body. And even though you're eating foods, you could still be absorbing, but you also could be accumulating too and not releasing at the level that you should. Because even me eating a lot of that turkey and eating the pot stickers last night, I feel them in my system. Now I could just pretend they don't exist and never do J juice again, and they'll still stay stuck in my system, or little bits of it. And those little bits do accumulate over time if you're not cleaning the pipes on a constant basis. Not doing like laxatives. No, we're not doing laxatives. But cleaning out your system, utilizing the right chemistry. That not only will purge out any excess, but also fix any weaknesses from your adaptation sequences that you aren't even aware of. Just simply going from one environment to another, one area to another, one activity to another is an adaptation sequence. Okay, and then there's more, some are more aggressive than others. That's why J juice is necessary throughout your life, but in the beginning of your initial introduction to J juice, you're going to be doing a lot. You're going to be resting a lot. You're going to be sleeping a lot. You're going to be in pain. You're going to be waking up parts of your body that you never knew existed, and you will be healing. And at some point, you will then eat some foods that are off the diet, and you won't experience the mucus or whatever symptoms. Okay, because symptoms is the body trying to adjust to a new environment and also deal with the imbalances. But at some point, you should be able to eat everything in the food supply. You won't play that discrimination game. And that's the point of J juice. We're not indefinitely staying away from meat and milk and all these GMO and stuff that people are demonizing. You're not going to be afraid of vaccines. You're not going to be afraid of 5G. You're not going to be afraid of chemtrails. You're not going to be fearing any kind of changes in our environment, because I'm going to tell you, we are going through a major fluctuation as far as the climate. You can call it, climate change and all that stuff. You can call them doing intentionally with the geoengineering. Whatever the case may be, humans have adapted to the fluctuations of the universe for centuries. Even during the flood, back in the Noah days, humans, let me tell you, if humans could not adapt to extinction level events, we wouldn't be here, okay? So when you see all these end times things, those are just the signs of people, specific generations that are dying, okay? That's why you see a form of the end times in every 50 or 60 years. I mean, I call it repackaged, but it's just then, based upon the progress of society and how they filter the same death process. It's still the same thing. Every generation is going through their catastrophic death process, and then they turn to the Bible, and the Bible is actually a primer for life and death. Now, you don't have to be on the death side of the Bible, but the Bible actually is the explanation of reproduction and death in our society in an allegorical way. Okay? So pain is genesis of healing. The 10 plagues is when you violate the laws of life by not taking care of the weaknesses and applying the wrong chemistry. Guess what? The plagues, look at the viruses on weak bodies, people dying because they violate the laws of life in their body. Now they are very sensitive to their environment. They have to live in a bubble, but you can't live in a bubble in our society. And so then you have the 10 plagues. And so read the 10 plagues. That's exactly right now what people are dealing with on a death trajectory. So can we live in the age of Genesis forever? Just stay in Genesis? Forget Leviticus and Numbers and Deuteronomy and all that stuff. Just stay in the Genesis. And we're continuously adapting and regenerating. And that's exactly the whole point of J-Juice. When you understand the power of J-Juice, and you understand what it's doing for you, and you're doing it long enough to actually get a testimony, it'll still taste kind of bad to you, okay? But it's going to be easier to drink because you know now conceptually what it's doing for you. But some of you haven't been staying on it long enough to receive any benefit to keep you on it. And so every single time you start and stop and start and stop, it gets harder and harder, and you still progressively have degraded your body to where it becomes harder. And some of you will experience an event that where your back's against the wall and you're going to choose the latest cure and try to do that, and then try to implement J-Juice, but you're now far worse than where you were before when you first initially were introduced to this, that you're not going to be strong enough to handle the healing process. The juice is going to taste so nasty to you, and you're not going to feel that it's worth it because you want to enjoy your life, but you haven't earned it. And so that's when people get off the J-Juice, is because they're too far gone to be able to have mind over matter until their body lets them know in a way that they can understand that it's worth it to stay on it. And so I am such a life proponent that it didn't matter how it tasted. I was from Vietnam, where I'm fighting malnutrition and, from an orphanage, from, the war in Vietnam. I came here in 1975, the fall of Saigon, 1975. I came here, my parents just protein loaded me and everything, McDonald's, all that stuff. And I was able to survive despite where I came from. And that never left me. I still fight to live in this society. Even though I got caught up in all the social norms and the social crap that people get caught up in Silicon Valley. Oh, you got to go to an Ivy League college, or you got to have some kind of, college degree to be something in our society. So, you get caught up in that. But then once you realize that it's not about college degrees and having some status in our society, it's about living in a way where you're not suffering on a continuous basis. That everybody out there, whether doing blue collar or white collar job, has something to offer. And are you living a quality life? Not a quantity where you're like gathering friends who are superficial and playing the status game. Because you know what? Sometimes being alone is not a bad thing, okay? But are you living a quality life where you actually can see that you will stick around? You're not going to be suffering like your friends and family are. And some people will pretend that they live a quality life because they have all this money and things and toys. But you can't take those toys with you when you're in the grave. So you might as well just balance everything out. Let go of some of those toys that are making you enslaved into working for them, which is then causing degradation where you can't even make room to heal. And put your priority, which is yourself, over status and, you know, all the different material things that we have come to revere so much. And you see I'm blowing my nose. Any excess that my body is getting rid of through drinking the J juice, you deal with the mucus and you get it out. Okay? Let me do another one. One more. And then I'm going to go deal with doing waterfalls, cleaning the pipes. Because the ultimate specific measurable result with the J juice, the ultimate specific measurable result with J juice is reversing the aging process. Okay? So nowadays it's so hard to tell what someone's age is because of the very accelerated degradation. So kids are maturing that much faster. So you have no idea how old these kids are nowadays, right? Well, now it's going to be based upon telomeres. You know, if you look back on, you know, what an actual, like nowadays, what a 25-year-old telomere is based upon, you know, kind of the relative health that's out there. And you'd say you're 100 years old, but you have a telomere of a 25-year-old. That's exactly the mission of the J juice. It's not about playing with your symptoms and all that stuff. It's about actually reversing the aging process where you can be 100 years old and have a 25-year-old telomere. That's going to be then the barometer of reversing the aging process. So I can't wait, you know, down the road when everyone is degrading around me and I'm still looking the same and they're looking like years and years and years older. That's when people are going to take me seriously. But it might be too late for a lot of them. But hey, you know, it's about life and death in our society. But you can choose to be on the side of life or the side of death. Now you have a choice. Okay, I'm going to do one more and then I'm getting off this transmission. Here we go. You know, fight for your life, you guys. No one is going to fight for your life except for you. So it makes this easy to drink because it's still not totally easy to drink. Okay? What makes this so easy to drink is the fact that I know what it does for me. I know what it did for me. I know what it's doing for me. And I've been so lucky to be married to my husband to give me this opportunity to really focus and harness the information to make it easy for you to understand and to allow myself to heal, because I wasn't healing 4 years ago, 3 years ago. I was progressively getting worse and I knew it. And that's what prompted me to do this protocol, because my desire to live and survive in this society that I love so much was far greater than bitching about my situation. You know, when I give somebody the opportunity on somebody else's wall, and one of my friends on Facebook was commenting on someone's post about black seed oil, and he said, hey, that's going to cause you more harm, and he tagged me in it, and I'm like, okay. So I went in and I just, you know, gave him a little synopsis that you have no business trying to alter a biochemistry that you don't even know what you have as far as imbalances, and this is going to cause more imbalances. And then people go into their diatribe of all of their issues as if I was going to address all of their issues as far as counsel them or guide them. And I'm like, hey, you're not that special. Every one of us has been through some shit in our life. Every one of us has been through so many different types of issues that you think that you're, you know, unique. Nobody is that special where they couldn't heal on J-Juice. Nobody is. And that was one of my famous lines a couple years ago, is you're not that special. We're all the same. We just been through different experiences, some more than others, but it doesn't mean that you won't have the ability to heal it. And so if you can't understand that, hey, you're not unique, you're not immune to healing, understand my information, here's how you get my information, this is how you get support, and they still want to be all whatever, done. You're not a candidate, done. And now it'll be up to them. And some of you are in those situations too, where you think you're that special that J-Juice is going to be immune to you, and sorry, but you're not that special. All right. Have a good day, guys. Bye.